Have you ever noticed that no matter how much you water and feed your lawn, it just won't thicken up and keeps getting overrun with moss? The problem usually isn't a lack of water, it's a hidden layer of thatch sitting between the grass and the soil. Dead clippings, old roots and moss that build up over the years and form a waterproof mat that blocks water, oxygen, and all the nutrients you keep paying for. That's where a scarifier comes in, a machine with steel blades that cuts vertically into the soil and rips all that thatch out at the root, so your lawn can finally breathe and grow far denser. I've rounded up the best ones you can actually get hold of here in Europe, with all the links in the description. Before we dive in, here's a trick that saves you hours. On the first pass, take the collection box off, let the machine fling the moss onto the lawn in rows, then run your normal mower over it to hoover everything up in one go. Trust me, you'll thank me later. Let's dive in. We kick off with the Einhell GC-SA1231, a 2-in-1 machine built for urban gardens of up to around 300 square meters. It runs a 1200-watt motor and a roller with 8 double blades, that's 16 cutting points, which you can swap for the 45-spring aerator roller for gentler upkeep. The best part is how little it weighs, between 8 and 9 kilos, so you can steer it round borders and flower beds like it's nothing, without wrecking your back. And make no mistake, it's no lightweight in performance. On its deepest setting, it's an absolute beast and pulls out a frankly ridiculous amount of moss. The 28-liter box does fill up fast, which is exactly where that earlier trick earns its keep. Changing the rollers needs an Allen key rather than a tool-free catch, so do it on the patio and not on the grass, because losing a bolt in thick turf is a rite of passage nobody enjoys. And since the blades bite so aggressively, start on the shallowest setting to avoid bare patches, and you'll be sorted. Now, if you fancy a step up in power without bulking the machine out, have a look at the Von Haus 2-in-1 at 1500 watts. It keeps a tidy 32-centimeter width, but by packing more watts per centimeter, the roller won't bog down or lose revs even when it hits a knot of roots or heavy clay soil. There's one touch you'll really appreciate. You set all 4 working heights with a single central lever, rather than fiddling with each wheel separately. It has a twin safety switch, a thermal cutout that shuts the motor down if you overdo it, and assembly is among the easiest going, ready in about 15 minutes. The clever bit is that once the blades dig in, the machine pulls itself forward, so you barely have to push at all. One thing though, the supplied cable is black, which is a bit like hiding it on purpose among the garden shadows, so keep your wits about you so you don't slice through it. And if you let go suddenly with an empty box fitted, it tends to tip backwards. Nothing serious, just something to get used to. And here we change gear entirely, because the ICRA 1840 is already a near-professional machine for large gardens. It climbs to 1800 watts and widens the cut to 40 centimeters, which works out to roughly 30% fewer passes than the 32-centimeter machines, and on a big lawn, that's a huge amount of time saved. It carries 20 forged steel blades, an aerator cylinder with 24 spring tines, and best of all, tool-free roller swapping with a quick release catch you unclip and refit in seconds. That little feature is pure gold. Once the shafts are caked in mud, a machine that demands a screwdriver ends up with its aerator roller forgotten in the shed forever. Its 15.5 kilos give it brilliant stability, and the motor simply won't choke. The trade-off? It's seriously loud, somewhere between 104 and 108 decibels, so proper ear protection here isn't a luxury. And although the box is huge at 55 liters, the wide mouth swallows so much that it fills just as quickly as the smaller ones. Now we switch things up completely, because this next one suits a totally different sort of person. The Black & Decker at 600 watts technically isn't even a real scarifier. It's an electric lawn rake. It has no rigid steel blades, just a spinning matrix of flexible metal tines on a chassis of barely 7 kilos. So, what's the point? Well, that's exactly its charm. With no blades, it's physically impossible to wreck a healthy lawn by going too deep. Picture your granddad who wants the garden kept clear of pine needles, autumn leaves, and surface moss every couple of weeks, but without the drama of a violent once-a-year Scarify. This is his machine, light, safe, and impossible to mess up. It even leaves those lovely striped patterns like an English football pitch. The box is front-loading, so be careful, because if you push forward then pull back like a vacuum cleaner, it tips the cuttings out. The knack is to go in straight lines and empty it before turning. And since it's only 600 watts, mow first, because long grass will make it struggle a touch. And if what you really hate is wrestling with cables, brace yourself, because the Works Nitro at 40 volts will win you over. It runs on 2 20-volt PowerShare batteries and a brushless motor, which isn't just marketing. With no brush friction, it transfers up to 25% more power to the shaft and stretches the runtime massively. It's 36 centimeters wide, has a 40-liter bag and tool-free roller swapping, just like the good corded ones. But the difference from everything before it is freedom. No more dragging 30 meters of extension lead through the flower beds and, above all, no more of the worst danger these machines carry, slicing through the cable with the blades and giving yourself a proper fright. The only catch is that 0.9 in the name. It ships with no batteries and no charger. If you already own Works tools on this platform, it's a joy, but if you're starting from scratch, add 2 batteries and a charger and it climbs into the premium tier. Back to the mains, but keeping an eye on the wallet, the dewinner 2-in-1 at 1500 watts is the value for money king. On paper, its 1500 watts, 32 centimeters and 30-liter box are near identical to the Von Haus, but for noticeably less money. And here's the curious bit. It looks very much like it shares manufacturing with the DIY chain's own brand machines, which, far from being a problem, means its motor and gearing are thoroughly proven. That 1500-watt torque shows no mercy to fossilized moss, ripping out biomass by the shovel load. Where do you notice paying less? In the finish, the plastics do the job but lack the premium feel of a German brand, and the assembly manual is Spartan, so build the handles with a bit of patience. It's an electric tractor with no frills, but for kilos of thatch torn out per pound spent, it's quite possibly the most efficient on the list. And we close with the Masco at 1800 watts, pure brute force for ground that's been neglected for years. 1800 watts, 40 centimeters wide, and a 55-liter sack for plots over 400 square meters. It carries 20 carbon steel blades, 24 tines for aerating, and nice touches like a central carry handle and a soft grip on the handlebar. Here's the smart play. It very clearly shares its core engineering with the ICRA we talked about, near identical dimensions, but it usually costs less, so if you like that one but want to save, this is its budget twin. It devours thatch without choking, and the wide cut slashes how much walking you do. It shares its siblings' quirks too. The manual is cryptic as anything, and at 15 kilos, on very small or fiddly gardens, you'll be sweating as you reverse it around. Right, let's wrap up so you get it right first time. If you've got a big neglected garden over 300 meters, go straight for the ICRA or the Masco, 40 centimeters wide, and motors that won't quit against the densest moss. If your garden is a maze of pool, paths, and flower islands, the cordless Works is your savior, because it gets the cable out of your way. For cosmetic upkeep, or if you want something light and idiot-proof, the 7-kilo Black & Decker is the clear pick. For the typical suburban lawn, the Von Haus is the perfect sweet spot, power, agility, and that lovely central lever. And if you're tight on budget but still want plenty of grunt, the dewinner gives you brute force for little money, while the Einhell brings the reliability of a long-established brand and unbeatable featherweight handling. All the links are in the description so you can compare and look at each model at your leisure. If the video helped you out, drop a comment and let me know how your lawn's getting on. See you in the next one.